All right. so, all right. So we got the wheels off. We actually have a bunch of rear sprockets here to take a look at. And I guess first thing you want to ask is like, why didn't I change the front sprocket? Now, the front sprocket is like a 10 or 11 tooth already. So going any smaller than that is kind of absurd. And unfortunately, you can't go too much bigger because the chain clearance to the casing doesn't really work out so well. So we're going to keep the front sprocket as much as possible, which I believe is a 10. Um, Clarify that or whatever, but it's like a 10. But on the back, of course, with the 2023, they went to this cool looking black sprocket. Now this is a 57 tooth stock EM sprocket. Looks pretty awesome. I like that the machining is in the front. It looks cool. For whatever reason, the S3 looks nice, but the machining is on the back. I'm not exactly sure why. I thought this would be a cooler look on the outside versus a flat with the markings, but I don't know. I mean, they know more than me, so we'll just leave it at that. So, coming from a 57 stock, and this is a 57, this is just a fancy schmancy blue 57 S3. I never really went outside that before, and I like the power. I like the response. I've gotten used to it over the years. I've really only tried the 57 tooth, and yeah, I mean, it's great all around. It's been good. I've not been disappointed with the 57 at all. Now, I did go ahead and try the 55 recently, and for all you guys that are wondering, like, why would I do that? It's like I kind of wanted more speed. I wanted a little bit more speed on the bike as far as the gear ratio. I kind of wanted the bike not to be as torquey with the as the 57 tooth. So I thought the 55 would mellow out the bike, and it did. It actually mellowed out the bike's response, like in the throttle, to a point where I really, really, really like that. I like the flow it had when I rode on the throttle. It wouldn't jump as much. I could be a little bit more loose with the throttle, and the bike would be a lot smoother and quicker in the pickup on the high end. Like the bike didn't whine out as much. It was pretty comfortable to ride in the single track and in the tighter single track that we have. That is. Now, that being said, I did do a hill climb recently, and I'll put a snippet of that video in there. But normally this hill ain't so bad. I mean, I've done it before. Other people have done it with EMs before, but and other electric bikes, But for whatever reason, I just couldn't get it, and I'm not blaming the bike, but I'm blaming the bike. Like, I just think what I did as far as gain the speed and the throttle response that I wanted, I lost the torque. And normally with the EM, it just has this thing where you're going up a real steep hill and it's going to feel like it's bogging on you. And then the motor kicks in and it just pulls you through whatever you need to get over. It just somehow pulls you through. And I believe with the stock gearing, it can do that. It's set up for that. It can climb those crazy kind of hills. Whereas when you go to a 55, you gain all those things, but you lose that extra torque at the very end of the power band. You just kind of lose it. You get a little bit more run-up speed, but when it gets to that vertical section, it just doesn't have it. Like, you just can't pick the torque back up like you would, with the stock gearing. So that being said, of course, we all know I did my enduro mod with my forks over here, and that has added extra weight to the front of the bike and extra weight to the bike in general. So not having that extra torque on the vertical parts of, like, say, hill climbs is kind of damaging as far as the performance of the bike. So if I was doing more flat, woodsy single track, I believe it'd be a lot easier and I would get a lot more benefit out of that gearing there, 55 tooth. Now what I plan to do is go to a 59 tooth. Now I might be screwing myself the opposite way where the speed might top out and it might be slow as hell. It would be super jumpy, super torquey, but you know, you never know until you try. So I'm gonna give that a try and see how that works. We're gonna put this on our tubeless standard electric motion wheel. This is a tubeless with the IRC Gikota IX09W knobbies. And we're going to try it out. Maybe the extra torque might help me with the added weight of those awesome forks. So that might be a good thing. Like that might actually be something worth trying. And like I said, I mean, it's worth doing just to see how it reacts. I might end up going simply back to the stock 57, which has been good to me all these years. Has never really given me a problem. Now, to throw something else in the mix, I want to bring this out. Ta-da! You're probably thinking to yourself, what the hell is this? Now this, if some of you original EM owners or guys who've been following me from the channel from day one, once again, thank you for all your support. This is the regular Escape 2020 chainring. Now this is a 48 tooth, and as you can see, I mean, it's a lot smaller than the 57 tooth that we have. Now this one came off of the Escape, which is not the Escape R. This is the one with the belt driven system. There's no clutch, but generally the same bike. Now this gearing, I believe, was set up more for like a on-road gearing where you have a little bit more higher speed, and it did have higher speed. When I did novice the first time with the electric motion Escape, the regular Escape, I believe, and I will double check the video, but I believe I got it done with the 57 tooth. I actually went to the 57 tooth and put it on. I might be wrong, you know, but if this is the way to go, that's the way to go. Like this actually worked really good for the time being, but now all the Escape and the Escape R's come with the 57 tooth sprocket. I'm not too sure exactly why they went away from this, but I do have one. Now the negative aspects of this chainring, which I actually don't think is a benefit necessarily, is the regen braking. Now take into consideration 57 to 55 to 59. I don't believe that gearing is big enough, you know, the two teeth interval to really affect the regen. But when I did try this in the past with my Escape R, it actually made the regen almost non-existent. So the lovely regen that you like when you want to come down and coast down a hill and you want to press the regen and get that good, like almost like ABS feel going downhill where it's not breaking traction but it's just rolling. With a smaller chainring or for the rear sprocket, you actually lose that aspect of the regen, and it's much more freewheeling. So yeah, you'll still get regen, but you're not getting the resistance that you're used to or that you might come to have liked over the years. Now, I'm not too sure why the Escape on the 2020 worked well with this. The regen actually worked good. I don't know if it was a setting or program thing, but I'm telling you right now, if you put this on an Escape R or an E-Pure Race right now, the regen, and you use the regen a lot, it will definitely get affected at some point. And I'm not sure if this higher speed, lower torque sprocket will actually do well with our enduro mods that we've done for the 2020 so far as well. So we're gonna get this guy on here. We're gonna get it back on the bike, and we're gonna show it off a bit, and hopefully for the next video we'll be able to ride it and I can kind of tell you how I feel about the 55, the 57, and now the 59 in real time, and how it rides, and maybe the pros and definitely the cons of going outside of the stock settings. So stay tuned for that. Thank you guys once again. Till the next time, ride with aloha.